It's about 8:30 in the morning on Saturday, April 29th, 2023. It's 55 degrees, but the wind is blowing from the north and it feels like it's in the 40s. I'm cold. I should have brought my hat. But anyway, there's just 2 more days left here in April. Monday will be May 1st. So this is what I got for the cows. I'm going to move them Monday evening. So Monday morning, they'll be at the last section of this row. So they got 2 sections last time, basically around the duck pond. And they missed so much grass, it's not even funny. There's so much grass here, it's ridiculous. I can't even describe how much grass there is. Commentator said I need more cows. I do. I need a lot more cows. I estimated that using the same stocking density that most people use around here, that 60 acres should support at least 30 cow-calf pairs, right? That's about what people are running. But I look at my pasture and it's doing fantastically wonderful. There's just tons of forage out here right now. We got another ½ inch of rain yesterday. A little storm blew through. I didn't think it would, but it did. And ground is soft and moist. Grass is growing like mad. Even though it's only 55 degrees out here, the grass is having a good time. So my goal is to get the equivalent of 50 cow-calf pairs on this land. See if I can get close to 1 cow per acre and see what happens. I think as long as I don't overgraze, as I keep the grass high, and one of the tools I'll use in my toolbox is I'll just stop rotating if there's not grass. I'll just pick a section of the field, either my worst section, probably my worst section, and what I'll do is I'll keep them confined to that area. Maybe I'll give them like 3 acres or something, and then I'll feed them. I'll feed them hay and I'll feed them feed if need be to keep them going until the grass starts growing again. If, however, there is some grass and it's not completely short and they're not overgrazing it, then I'll just roll out the hay and the area they're at. So let's watch the puppies and the sheep and the lambs. It looks like the sheep are not happy. Yeah. That's the instinct you need. You need the puppies, the dogs, to have the instinct to just fall over when they're attacked by the sheep. You know. You can see the lamb is curious. The lamb wants to say hi to the puppies, but the mom wants none of it. So. The grass is so tall, I'll see a little bump of white fur, and I don't know if it's a dog or a sheep or a lamb or anything. So, you're a good dog. Here with the sheep. That's a good dog. Let's give you a pet too. So. So the line for the last area that I gave them yesterday morning was somewhere around here. Oh, I should mention I had the goal of fixing the fence this morning, and so I wanted to find where the leak was. And the thing is as I go along the fence, the current gradually drops, which means that it's not like any one source of leak, it's the entire fence. Just every blade of grass that's touching it is draining the current and the voltage. And my concern is that the voltage isn't high enough to kill that grass that's touching the fence. And so it's just going to keep draining. And what I got to do is I got to go through with a weed whacker and clear the fence. Hopefully that'll increase the voltage enough that the fence can do the rest. But my fence is at about half power right now. So the high voltage is supposed to be 10.5 volts, is at like 4.5 or 5. And The low voltage is supposed to be 5 volts is at like 2, you know. That's right, Rocket. Learn to fight. Sheep didn't want them to play around the lamb. You're overprotective. You need to calm down. There's quite a gust of wind right now. The forecast is, I think tomorrow it's going to rain some more and be cold. And then after that, we're going to get into the 70s and 80s. And it looks like next week, the nights, it won't drop below 60. So we might see the warm season grass kick in soon. Probably a little bit too early. But I heard the rule of thumb is if you have 3 or 4 nights in a row where it doesn't fall below 60, then the warm season grass starts to do its thing. And then if you have 3 or 4 nights below 60, that's when the warm season grass decides to turn off. I'm gonna try to cover the microphone a little bit here. Even with the cat fur, it's not perfect. So anyway, that's what I got going. So 21-day rotation, and the cows have a 21-day estrus cycle. So 2 rotations means that bulls will have had a chance twice with each cow to do their job and breed. So let's see, 42 days from now. Oh, not 42. It's probably less a week. So 35 days from now. Let's see, when will 35 days be? That'll be like June 2nd or 3rd or something like that. So about June 3rd, it seems, the bulls will have hopefully finished their job. And assuming none of the cows miscarry, we should be seeing calves in 2024 in February, March, and April, which is the perfect time to have calves. February is probably a little bit too early. This February was warm, but what are you doing, Blue? How are you doing? Do you want me to rub you? Yeah, don't swing your horns around me. My wife commented that she's never seen the cow so fat, and I need to go back and check. I took some pictures when I first got them, but that might be true, that these cows have never been in this good of a condition. I would say might be true because I'm not really sure. The first year I had them, I didn't even know what to look for in terms of condition. And my neighbor that sold me the cows had to tell me that I was killing my cows because I couldn't tell. So no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was looking at. But in hindsight, I don't think they were this good. Certainly since I started making these videos, this is the best they've ever been. So, and I can only see areas for improvement here on Blue. Some cows are fatter, but you can see the Blue's triangle here. There's a triangle here is nicely filled in. Is this just patterns, or is that the ribs? So you can almost see the ribs. I think it's more to do with the pattern than anything else. The hip bone here is still poking out, but you can see it's very round. It's not sharp and pointy at all. The ridge line here, there's a lot of flesh here. The ridge line will poke out like a dinosaur when they're skinny. And then the part to look at is their tail fat here down in their tail. If that's hollow, that means they're really skinny. They're not doing well at all. But otherwise, it should fill in. There should be folds of fat in the tail there. What other parts can you look at? Oh, the other part you can look at is the brisket. That's the bottom in between their front legs. So that's the flap of skin there. It's supposed to fill in and just be blubbery when they're super fat. So that's another thing to look for. Let's go find 21. So 20 was at one point my second worst cow. And let's just kind of look at her. Look at all the features she has. Right now she's doing really well. You can see compared to Blue there, her hip bone is almost disappeared. Her triangle is pretty much filled in, so she's eating well. You can kind of see the ribs a little bit, but just that last rib. And then the ridge on her back, there's quite a few flies on her. Let's get those flies off. The ridge on her back is missing, it's not even there. And you can see on her, unlike Blue, there's folds of fat developing at the base of her tail. You see that folds of fat? So, and then her brisket, she'll let me see her front legs. Her brisket, you can see it starts to jiggle like jello. Yeah. And let's go find 21. 19 has been my good cow too. Probably my second best cow for a long time. But it's hard to tell between 19 and 20 who's better now. Where's 20? I think 21's over there. I'm going to go take a look at 24 first. 24 has been my worst cow. And I have a commentator that suggests deworming her. And hey, why are you drinking that water? You know, I give you guys fresh water. You know what's amazing though is the water's so clear because the grass is filtering all the sediment and stuff out and keeping it in place. So this water probably isn't that bad. I mean, when's the last time a cow's been here to pee in it? Right? Anyway, 24. So commentator says I need to deworm 24. And yeah, look at her tail. It's just covered in filth and manure. Yeah, she's probably not making good manure patties. So her calf has been nursing on her continuously, and even now, her calf is probably close to a year old and still nursing on her from time to time. I think 24 is just a giving cow, sacrificing everything for the next generation. But look at her brisket at the bottom there, right? The ridge is starting to disappear. It's still quite pronounced, but the hip bone, unlike Blue and 20, the hip bone is pretty sharp. There's not a lot of fat around the hip bone. Her triangle's filled in nicely. Her ribs are disappearing. And her tail, you can see how it's much more hollow than, you can see the hip bones really well. So, you know, if she doesn't improve very soon, I probably will stick her in the pen and give her some dewormer. Maybe I'll stick her in the pen for like a week and see if she improves much, and keep the calf away from her. All right, there's Metal Tag there. Metal Tag's a pretty good cow too. Let me go find 21. There's 19, 20. I kind of wanted to see, you know, I'm the kind of guy, if somebody tells me you have to do something or it has to be done this way, I always ask why, you know. And the first question I always have is what you're saying actually true, you know? And yeah, you can see this calf is still milking on her mom. So, and when it comes to cattle, so much is tradition and patterns that have been established over the years. This is 21, by the way. And it makes me wonder how much of what you think you know about cows is marketing, like companies trying to sell you something, and how much is actual truth, you know. And so much about the cattle business are like, oh, you get like 3% gains if you do X, Y, and Z, which could lead to this much profits and stuff like that, you know. And I'm kind of like, when I hear stuff like that, if you're managing your cows and 3% or 2% makes a huge difference, then you got to question whether it's worth it ethically and morally, building that dependence into your supply chain. In my case, my primary purpose is to develop zero input cows, right? I want to be able to grow cows without any inputs. I want to be able to do it without hay. I want to be able to do it without diesel or any kind of chemicals. Anyway, let's look at 21. You can see 21, you can barely see the hip bone. The ridge is completely gone. 21 is not a friendly cow, by the way. The tail is completely filled in. There's folds of fat there. I want to see her brisket here. Let's see the brisket. This ram needs to lose the fur. It's coming off. So let's look at the brisket. You can see how the brisket, here, watch when she walks. It jiggles like jello. That's fat. That's just pure fat. She also has good muscle on her, right? So she's not just a ball of fat. The history of 21. So we had the fire, July 24th or something like that last year. And so the fence, a third of my field was burned. We had a super bad drought too. I'm just chasing 21 now. But I pinned up all the cows because I didn't have any fence. And that night she gave me a calf, a beautiful bull calf. I was very impressed with the calf, by the way. The subsequent, when I moved them out of the pen, somehow the calf got back in. And so when I came back that evening, I think I had to carry the calf to the mom, because the mom couldn't figure out how to get the calf out of the pens. So, and that a couple days later, the calf was dead. I woke up in the morning, came to the field, and the calf was on the ground dead. So the calf only lived for 3 or 4 days. Whether that was bad parenting, whether that was the fire and the stress, any number of things could have been responsible for that. So I don't entirely blame 21 for losing the calf, given the set of extenuating circumstances. But I think that's one of the reasons why she's in such great shape is, unlike all the other cows who had calves on them, nursing during the drought, and I was only giving them enough food to survive. I wasn't trying to keep them fat or anything. So 21 was not just getting the same forage and feed as them, but didn't have the calf on her. And she was a large cow to begin with. So that's the history of her. So what else we got here? This is Blackie. Blackie gave me a beautiful calf too. What's with your eyes? Your eyes look milky. Is that real? Or am I just imagining that? Is that why she stays back? She has a hard time seeing? Let me see your eyes. Do those eyes look milky to you? Let me zoom in a little bit. Push that button. All right, let's try it again. Let's get her eyes. Come on. No, stay still. Stay still. Do those eyes look normal? That's the right eye. I think she has a hard time seeing out of the left eye. Stay still. Stay still. Yeah, it looks milky to me. Anyway. Maybe she's going blind. That could explain a lot why her behavior is the way it is. Let's compare with Brownie. Brownie's a little bit milky. Could just be the breed. Nah, yeah, I'm just seeing things. Take a look at the neighbor's bull. Here's my neighbor. Were you sniffing somebody's butt when they pooped on your face? Number 10 is part Brahmin. Yeah, her eyes are not as bad as Blackie's, but a little bit that way. Same with his. His eyes are pretty clear. Yeah, I'll keep my eyes on that. All right, that's all I have for you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.